Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final review of the Daredevil Born Again season. We made it this far. The season finale is here. And this one, I don't know. It it took me a lot longer to record this video than the other ones because truthfully, I really didn't want to. Initially, when I first watched, I kind of came away from it went, this one might be the best episode of the season. Might be my favorite. But as more time went on, you know, more I thought about it, definitely not. There was so much dumb and so much stupid in this episode. It's ridiculous. It felt like it went off the rails. And don't get me wrong, there are some things that I liked about it, but overall, it isn't nothing. And it's really a bummer because I was hoping that maybe this show and, the things I heard about it was maybe, gonna see like Marvel's turning point. They're gonna try and turn stuff around, but no, definitely not. Not after seeing this. All kind of hopes I have for anything Marvel related, they were already very low, but now they're even worse. This episode, some cool concepts and things, but the execution is so bad. Like basically the episode is setting up Kingpin basically just he enacts martial law throughout the city, which the mayor can't do. That's not something in their, list of, abilities and things. Like they can't enact martial law. And he does enact a curfew, which that is within the powers of the mayor, for 8 o'clock p.m. in New York. Come on. That, whatever, but as well as a lead balloon. And the power goes out for the night, and then everyone just immediately erupts into chaos, and then by morning, everything's fine. No, that's not how that would happen, but whatever. The episode starts off, we see Fisk basically he's starting to get the ball rolling with his plans, and Buck, who I think I've been calling Bonk this whole time, probably because Batman Beyond reference kind of there, but Buck, Bonk, whatever, I don't care. Discount Wesley, we'll call him that, from season 1. He's talking to me as, Murdoch saved me, kind of complicates things, and Fisk is like, no. What better example than to have, this hero, this brave individual who saved the mayor's life tragically succumb to his wounds. I think he says something like, a dead hero is better than a live vigilante, which is like, yeah, we kind of saw that coming. So Buck goes to Matt's room to try and, stick him with a syringe of something. Right around the time the whole chaos erupts because the power goes out, because Kingpin and his flunkies, they pull the plug. And Matt escapes. He gets back to his place. And it's funny because he wakes up at the beginning of the episode, and Heather and Kirsten are there. And Matt wakes up, and the first person he calls for is Karen. And Heather gets all in a tizzy, which she gets really annoying. And she's been annoying me the last couple episodes, but this one, she really just, like, I'm over it. Because they're trying to, Matt, he's really, all this stuff with Foggy, he was on to something, I need to get access to his files and things, and Heather, I know you trust Fisk, but this is bigger, and she just doesn't want to hear it. Kirsten's like, no, you guys, you need to rest, blah, blah, blah. And, the thing with Fisk, wanting to go after him and everything. So, I'm trying to remember how it goes here. After that, Matt makes his way home, and while that's going on is when the Kingdom starts enacting everything, like the martial law and the curfew and everything. One of the things he has, whoever wrote this, beyond stupid. They thought, someone actually thought this was a good line. Kingpin, when he's addressing, the city of New York, and he's giving all of his new laws, he's, martial law's in effect, curfews are at 8. One of the things he says, vigilantes are now illegal. No, duh. That's the whole point of the term vigilante. It means it's not legal. Like, who? What? How? How did they allow this to get written, recorded by the actors, edited, and put out? It's beyond me. It's baffling. So he's doing that, and he sets loose his anti-vigilante task force to go after Matt. We see Matt at home. He gets there, and he's met by Punisher. They have a little bit of dialogue going on. He goes, you can hear these guys coming in and all that. Yeah, they're on the... And Punisher goes, yeah, when these guys get up here, I'm not, he says something like, I'm not playing patty cake, I'm chopping them up. And Matt's like, I don't think that's the kind of help I want right now. He goes, well, that's the help you got. There's some... The banner between the two isn't too bad. I did actually enjoy. That's one of the things I did like about the episode. There's a scene where he shows up, goes, "Oh, did you get a new costume now? You like hospital man, nightgown man, or whatever." And he's kind of like poking him with that, which I thought was funny. Matt gets up to go change. He goes, "What are you going to do this with your ass hanging out?" And he goes, "Shut." And I think like Matt like flips him off or whatever. So when we see the cops and whatnot coming up, and they make their way through Matt's apartment. Daredevil crashes to the ceiling. Punisher comes in. They take everybody out. Punisher's there offing people left and right. Daredevil's just trying to knock him out. There's one point he does like get on Frank, telling him to stop. And then so they make it through everybody, and then they find out that the one dirty cop, who's like one of the higher ups of this task force, they find Punisher finds one of the shell casing with his logo on it. He goes, "Hey, Red, I think you found your killer." Matt sees it, and he realizes, oh, this is the guy who killed Hector from earlier. And he gets in his face. He kind of like beats him up a little bit, and he's getting ready to kill him. But he holds himself back, and then Punisher gets ready to, and Daredevil stops and says, no, he's not worth it. And they're arguing back and forth at this point. And then someone chucks a grenade in. They jump out the building. All the while Matt has a bullet wound from a sniper rifle. And he's been able to do this pretty much fine. Just after, every once in a while, he just kind of goes, oh, ow. But it's like, yeah, that would basically be like, you barely would have, you wouldn't have a whole lot of use in that arm, but whatever. Comic books, I digress. So, they get out of the apartment, the building, they get down to the road, and who happens to just be there at the perfect time to pick up Matt and Frank, but Karen. Karen's back. Woo! It's whatever. It's just very convenient. So they go to Frank's place. She helps patch Matt up. Frank's being Frank, and then Matt and Karen go off to try and go find where Foggy's all old, records and things were, to look into things. Which, one thing that bothered me about the thing with Punisher is he basically just turns into like meathead kill him guy. There's nothing. He's just like the whole time and blowing people up and shooting them and stuff, and it kind of just, it feels excessive. It just, I know Punisher's a very like violent, excessive character, but in this it just feels, I don't know, it feels weird. I don't like it. He feels like a meathead. So that happens, and then while they're figuring out the stuff with Foggy, we have Fisk. He finds, because Commissioner Gallo talks with his one, press secretary lady, and he basically asks her for her help, and she's like, yeah, I'll help. She ends up screwing him over and letting Kingpin know, and he arranges for Gallo to meet them. Or he doesn't arrange for him. Gallo gets ready to leave the party earlier on, the very beginning of the episode, and he's met by one of Fisk's task force guys in his car, who drives him to this location. where Kingpin basically shows him what's going on with the task force and whatnot. And then he basically grabs Gallows' head because Gallows like basically telling him off on how he's not going to get away with this and yada yada yada. So Kingpin basically grabs Gallows' head and just crushes it, which it really felt like they were trying to reference what was it? Episode 2 of season 1 of Daredevil, where he, decapitates a person with the car door. That's kind of all it felt like. I mean, in the way I don't mind, since the show is, meant to be like street tears and stuff, I don't mind it to be more like violent and visceral and a little bit gory. But the way they did it when he crushes his head, it looks so cartoony and fake. It was kind of took me out of it. So basically, they, Matt and Karen go off to do their thing with Foggy. Frank goes off to go after the Punisher copycats. It's like one against like dozens, and he ends up getting overwhelmed and kidnapped. And they do a send up. There's this whole scene where Powell is talking to Frank, saying, "Oh, we really, we look up to you, and we really idolize you and this, that, and stuff, everything." And Punisher's like, "Oh, you guys look up to me and your idol, whatever." And he goes, "You guys think you know about me? You guys think you know my pain and this, that, and the other thing," which was really annoying because in episode 4 earlier on, he was talking about how he doesn't do like the victim crap, and then here he is doing that. So inconsistencies in your own season, guys. That's lovely. So he gets kidnapped and beat up. They end up imprisoning him later, which we see at the end of the episode. And then while he's off doing that, Kingpin's murdering Gallo and getting things set up to get everything situated at the beginning of the new day with his laws and policies. Daredevil and Karen are making this way to this location where they need to find all this information, and it's just surrounded by the task force and cops and things. And Matt Britt wants to go in there and fight them all, and Karen's like, "If you do this, you're going to die. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You cannot make it through this. You're going to die. I'm upset. I'm angry too, but we can't do it this way. We got to figure something else out." Matt, after, he kind of calms down a little bit, he lets cooler heads prevail, and he agrees with Karen. And she says something. She makes the comment about being an army or something down there. He can't go through an army, and then they talk a little bit more and get him calmed down. And at the end, they're like, she goes, "How are we going to stop this? Or, what are we going to do?" And Matt goes, "We're going to need an army." So we got to the full broadcast where he's enacting all of his policies and the God, I'm already forgetting the martial law and the curfew and all that, and vigilantes being illegal, which duh. And after that happens, we see Daredevil at Josie's diner. They gathered their army. It's Daredevil, Karen, Josie's bar, because that's where their hideout is. They're in condemned Josie's bar. Cherry, the one lady cop from the bank heist episode, and I think 2 other cops. And then it kind of zooms in on Daredevil, and then it ends. Now, part of me is kind of curious to see where we go from here. The other part of me is it's probably just going to be as bad as this was and as disappointing as this was. Because in that end shot, it was literally just Daredevil, Karen, Josie, and a bunch of cops. Why was there no Defenders? Why wasn't there no Jessica Jones, no Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Spider-Man, something to be better than just literally a bunch of random people who... This has to, there has to be something here. Go get Elektra or something. We never saw her die, so technically she could still be out there. And it's just this episode, there were so many... it was cool seeing Matt and Punisher fight together, even though they turned Punisher into Meathead Man. And it was cool seeing the stuff with Mayor Fisk, even though it was done way better in the comics. It wasn't just, I caused the blackout and then I saved it. In the comics, Hydra puts Manhattan in the dark dimension, and Fisk is able to, get into their good graces by helping them through, which makes more sense than him just getting, the pothole done, and that's basically it. Because we really don't see him doing anything else other than earlier on when he gets that pothole or construction, whatever, taken care of. That's it. And the whole kind of thing about why Foggy got killed, because I forgot, the very first thing in the episode we see is Vanessa visiting Bullseye, and we see, why she hired him and everything. It was basically she gives him temporary leave from jail to take care of Foggy, because Foggy, the cases he's working on, could expose that essentially the docks or wherever they're at, I can't remember the name of it, Red Hook or whatever it was, they were basically legal. It was something about how it wasn't like considered territory of the United States, because like that was one little portion of the ocean side or the docks or wherever it was. And because of that, they were able to essentially legally launder money. And if that case went forward, Fogg was about to expose that, so that's why they had him killed. Which was like, it was kind of goofy, but I was like, okay, sure. I guess I can buy that, but I didn't see any of Bullseye. Aside from the little flashback, that's it. That's all we see. We don't see him in costume, nothing. I think we might have seen him like a flash at the end of the episode when Daredevil was giving his speech and they showed him at the bar, but that was really it. So yeah, like this episode, I'm disappointed. It's there's so much bad in it, so many dumb things, and it's just, I feel like with the with the benefit of hindsight, now seeing the whole show, kind of disappointed myself for having hope at the beginning of it, but it's kind of what happens. You love these characters, you want them to be treated well, and you hope that maybe this time will be different, but clearly wasn't. So that's about it for everything that happened this episode. I really don't. It felt like there was a lot that went on. Fisk makes Heather New York's, like head of mental health or whatever, and it's pretty much established. Even my showrunners, they come out and say that Matt and Heather are, oh, thank God. Maybe now she can die because she was so insufferable. But that's pretty much it for this episode. I really just, it was an episode. That's the best I can give it. It was pretty bad. And it's over. So as much as I've been enjoying doing these reviews, part of me is kind of like, well, at least I don't have to deal with this anymore. I don't have to be disappointed anymore. What I do think I might do within the next week or so, because I have a lot of ideas on what I want to. I have some other video ideas that I want to do. A lot of them, actually. I might do one more video on Born Again. I might do like a whole kind of season review, with the benefit of, fully seeing it and not, coping early on like I was, because, I had that hope. I had that, positivity. But I'll probably give an overview of the actual the full season, tell you whether or not I'd recommend it. Spoilers, I don't recommend it. It kind of sucks. Watch the original Daredevil. It's way better. And then I do have a couple comic reviews coming up I want to do. And I still want to do a Fantastic Four trailer reaction, which I know I'm a bit late on, but I still want to do it. But yeah, that's going to be it for me on this one. I wish I could be more enthusiastic and excited for this like I was for a lot of the other ones, but it's just kind of how modern Hollywood and MCU have been recently for the last 6 or 7 years. So here we are. But yeah, as always, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. If you are so inclined, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you thought of the episode if you watched it. And yeah, that's basically going to be it for me. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace and love, everybody. Have a good one.